fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome in. Today, talking about the Gorn Eviscerator ship. I'm going to give you my thoughts and a little bit of info about it, whether or not I think it has value in the game, and how exactly you can use it. Now, for those wondering how to get this in terms of free-to-play acquisition, there will be a weekly event that launches it. Now, if you are watching this video the day that it has come out, then you're not going to see that event just yet, as the arc has literally just rolled out. But there will be an event that you source the blueprints from free-to-play, or as is normal, they're going to provide a way for you to purchase it early on. So if you want to go buy it in the store, it's $100. That's pretty typical. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is, what value, if any, does it bring to you in Star Trek Fleet Command, and whether that you should go after it? And I think the initial thing that needs to be discussed is it actually useful when you make it? So I'm going to show you mine, Tier 1, Level 5. This is a brand spanking new baby one, and I'm just going to go hit some regular Gorn ships. So the advantage of the Gorn Eviscerator is they're going to have a natural advantage versus these. The answer is yes. It actually is going to naturally be very, very good against the Gorn hostiles, allowing you to take out several of them, and more than you would honestly need to do the new refinery that comes with this loot. So as you can see, with me taking these out, I'm able to get multiple currencies. The new currency they added into the hostiles, which is this one right here, the Apex Isomatter, well, this is going to allow you to get a lot more of that currency. In fact, the ship has two native abilities right here. You have the first one being increases isolated damage against the Gorn hunters by X%. Now this varies based on the power of your ship, or the tier and level of your ship, that is. And then you have the rigorous extraction, increasing the amount of Apex Isomatter gained when defeating the Gorn hunters. So this is a ship that, as soon as it comes out, very reminiscent of the Franklin A versus Swarms, or the Franklin versus Swarms. Unique for this hostile, not really necessarily great against anything else, but very good against that particular hostile. In terms of cost and like using the ability and how much it levels up, here's your loot bonus over there on the right side, as well as the wormhole cost if you want to use its jump ability. So as you can see, the loot bonus is going to level up higher and higher, or I'm sorry, that's supposed to be the damage bonus is going to level up higher and higher as you go up on it, and it has a massive loot bonus as you level this up. All these charts, including the corrected version of that chart, in my Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, join it. It is in the charts channel where our volunteers post a lot of those neat things. So as you go through, the basic runnings of this is simply attacking the Gorn hunters so that you can get the currencies to then use the refineries. And you have a new refinery that has come out called the Eviscerator Refinery, which is, as you can see, based on the tier of the ship, which will allow you to help start sourcing things like Strange New World officers, the new artifact that's come out, which is an epic PvP artifact, and then of course you have your engine parts back here for their level locks, because it does have level locks kind of as expected. And then here are your ship parts. Now, the ship parts that it pays out will change as it tiers up. So once you get to tier 7, it starts doing 5-star parts. And once you are level 61 plus, it'll give you 6-star parts. But here at tier 1, you see I only have common 4-star. So saving those until it tiers up just a little bit. Now it does have its own research tree as well. So if you go into the Starships research tree, you'll find a couple of things in the tree at the very end, now made specifically for the new Gorn Eviscerator. You have these 3 specific ones. I'll be honest, I don't think you actually need any of these except the warp range one, because the warp range in this feels really low, especially early on. So getting warp range boost is useful. But on the flip side of that, because the main goal of this is to grind out that new Apex Isomatter, you're able to get plenty in the run. In fact, as you start off, that triple chest pull is 2,500. And as you can see, I'm already at 10K, having just done, running around doing it for the events right now. So it significantly increases the amount of Apex Isomatter that you can get. Now, my hope is that the Apex Isomatter refineries will be available to everybody, regardless of if you have the Eviscerator ship or not. Currently, you cannot take advantage of the officer sourcing, for example, or the ship parts, unless you have the Gorn ship, even though the refinery is there. So you can actually start collecting Apex Isomatter at the time of this video with your normal ship, but you won't have the massive loot bonus that the Gorn Eviscerator provides. And the good thing is you can get a triple pull of this by basically killing like 7 to 10 hostiles, depending on which ones you're hitting. You get your triple pull here with the Gorn Eviscerator versus hitting 40 to 60 hostiles with your normal ship, just because of the massive loot bonus you're going to get. There are a couple of other abilities that are worth mentioning here. for the Gorn Eviscerator. But I'll be honest, in my personal opinion, unless changes happen, and this is happening May 8th, so maybe things happen later after this video is made, but you do have an ability to instant warp, just like the Discovery. So I can say set course and jump there. There's also this ability, the Spatial Rip, which allows you to bring in alliance mates and summon ships from your alliance. Here's the drawback. It's not what was initially thought or sold to us as in terms of like what we were told, which is the ability to say, bring a level 38 player to a level 60 armada, let them launch it, and they get to get the starter chest and we carry them. It's not how it works at all. You are limited to the actual range of where you are. So if you're like a G4 player, well, you're limited to G4. So there's no real point. The only application I can currently see for that is in territory battles, to simply have alliances summon as many ships as possible in a territory to jump into the fight and score more points. But again, that's a very niche use, and unless that gets modified in a way that is more beneficial to the average player or to players en masse, it's certainly not a reason to go and spend your hard-earned money on it, but you still have the benefits of the Refinery. Truly, everything except the Refinery is a little bit of a meh here for me with the Gorn Eviscerator. I think it's a bad ship, but it is pretty limited in what you would use it for. It's not going to take over as your main ship, and one thing that I do have to start pointing out are some of the negatives to it. So the loop is actually nice. I like the loop, and I give Scopely credit for the loop because they didn't add a new hostile. They simply added an existing currency or new currency to an existing loop, which is good. That means we don't have Xindi Reptilians, Xindi Aquatics, and Silence. It's all Gorn Hunters, and then we're simply getting different bonuses if we use this ship versus a normal ship. But here's the drawback to this ship. The cost is a little bit high. And when I say a little bit, here's a nice little reference sheet on the screen. Now, right here, we're looking at the G4 cost. Not actually that bad. But I want you to compare at the top. Trit, wow. Look at the amount of titanium you need to repair this ship, or I'm sorry, to max out the ship compared to the Borg Cube, which we already know is ridiculously expensive. When it comes to G4 overall cost, I'll move it down here and I'll show y'all where things are. So just take a note of where they are at the top. But if you look where it says at 143 right there, compared to the Borg Cube in G4, it is less expensive. It's less expensive in G4 materials, uncommons and rares in G4. But as soon as you get to G5, which is right over here, you see 1.2 million crystal. Scroll over that 1.2. That's the Gorn Eviscerator compared to the G5 mats needed for the Borg Cube. In G5, this is a ridiculously expensive ship to upgrade, way more than I think is worth it, because again, are you going to use this as a utility ship or as a regular ship at G5? No, you're going to be using it for Gorn. So a little bit of a like, wow, why do we need to make it that expensive? That is a negative to me. Now, as far as upgrading the ship, it does have a unique currency, and that currency is shared with its research tree. Part of me honestly likes that. Here's why I like it, because I hate new currencies in the game. And as we talked about in the live stream, there's always too many things to keep up with. And I'm curious your opinion as well. I like that currencies being less means that we can do more. But here's the thing. A shared currency means you have to choose between upgrading your ship and doing your research. So typically, we're going to say do the ship first. Like focus on upgrading that. You see, I've already worked on the warp range. But this currency is used for both. And you only get it through doing the Refinery. So just something to keep in mind as you're working on your Gorn Eviscerator, if you so choose to purchase it now, or if you're a player watching this a few weeks / months down the road, maybe you got it free to play, something you're going to have to be aware of. Crewing is actually pretty easy. You're simply building off the already existing isolytic damage against Gorn Hunters, and building off of it is truly simple, in my opinion. When I say simple, it is literally you want to build isolytic cascade. Now, don't worry too much about the officers that you see here, like picture-wise, which is Enterprise Data, Janeway, etc. If you don't have those, here are some crewing options right here. So you can use things like Pike Moreau, Enterprise Data, Pike Moreau, Janeway, if you don't have the full set. The idea is you want to bring isolytic cascade along to make that isolytic damage even more. And as you saw, my tier 1 Gorn Eviscerator was just flying through Gorn Hunters with no real problem. That's probably how it's going to be for most people against the specific Gorn Hunter hostile. It is good and useful. And just to provide you an upgrade cost screen, a little bit easier to read than that big one, though all these charts again are in the Discord. It's where you can see G4, honestly not that expensive. G5 getting quite pricey in terms of your materials. And then of course here is your G6 cost, with this thing having 15 total tiers. So it's a hit or miss for me. I don't think that it's bad because I do love the Refinery. The Refinery is giving me officer sourcing, more ship parts for 3 generations of the game, which I think is primo and good. But whether you should go get it now is completely up to you. The answer is simple. It is, would you rather save the time that the free-to-play path would take and start getting those things right now? Between the ship parts, between the officer shards, which I think today I pulled 3 Strange New World and Benga shards. I'm not going to complain about that. And then the epic artifact, which you see I'm already over halfway to unlocking, which will increase my isolated defense for PvP ships. Not sure what I'll put this on. Probably my pylum after I put... I'm sorry, this is an artifact. But I'm not sure how much I'll focus on this because, again, I'm focusing on other artifacts. But it's still nice to have. My brain interpreted it as a forbidden tech for a brief moment. But still, more is nice. And it is nice to get a epic artifact for essentially free for everybody who unlocks a ship, whichever route you decide to go. But is it a game-changing, like, positive ship that adds a lot? I think it would need a lot of work to do that. But it does give you sourcing for officers. It does give you a nice refinery. And that does provide some level of value. So in terms of crewing, not super hard. Again, Isolated Cascade, throwing around Hugh, Bolano Torres below decks, obviously is going to be great. And in terms of what it gives you, more refinery stuff. And I like refinery stuff because this is this ISO Matter Refinery is now giving me officer sourcing for the new Strange New World set, as well as helping with Enterprise E Data and Janeway and Tom Paris. And I think that's good for the game overall. It just needs some tweaking. But anyway, that's my opinion as it is now. This is how it works. And it is relegated to its niche. You're not going to be really taking this thing out and doing anything besides Gorn with it. That said, it does Gorn very, very well. That's my thoughts. That's all the information you need to know. As always, if you need any help, you can hit me up on Discord or Facebook. Live long and plunder. Stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces. That's me. Catch you on the next Star Trek League Man video. If you need any help with crewing and if you need any help with actually acquiring using the ship, like I said, DMs are always open. See you later.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.